Hi there. Welcome to Semantics. I'm George. There is a lot of talk on the new GRE. Here is my take on it. Starting August 2011, GRE takers all over the world will experience the new GRE. ETS has tweaked the test structure, introduced a new testing algorithm, introduced new question types, changed the scoring pattern, added test aids, and more. This presentation will explore the multiple facets of the new GRE. We will be soon releasing the next video which will talk on how to prepare for the GRE, the challenges, study plan, etc. First, let us take the test structure. The old GRE had 3 sections. A verbal section 30 questions 30 minutes, a math section 28 questions 45 minutes, and a writing section with 2 tasks 60 minutes. In the new GRE, there is no change in the writing section. Instead of 1 section, there will be 2 each of quantitative and verbal reasoning sections. Each verbal reasoning section comprises 20 questions of 30 minutes each, and each quantitative reasoning section comprises of 20 questions of 35 minutes each. An unscored, unidentified math or verbal reasoning section will be part of the test. You will not know which section is scored and which one is not. The unidentified, unscored sections may appear in any order. The test is 3 hours 45 minutes duration, including the unscored section. The scores for the GRE revised general test include verbal reasoning score, a scale between 130 and 170 in 1 point increment, quantitative reasoning score 130 to 170 score scale in 1 point increment, and the analytical writing score reported on a 0 to 6 score scale in half point increments. Now let's go on to the new adaptive format. In the old GRE, the questions in a section are adaptive. The difficulty level of the questions is adjusted based on the performance in the previous question. In such a format, you cannot skip a question, nor can you go back to the previous question. In the new format, you are allowed to preview questions ahead within the specific section on which you are working, review questions you have already answered, and change your answers. However, you cannot go to another section while working on the current section. Unlike in the old GRE, in the new test, the verbal reasoning and the quantitative reasoning measures are section level adaptive. The computer selects the questions in the second subsection of a measure based on a performance on the first. That is, the difficulty level and the weightages of questions in, say, the second math subsection will depend upon your performance in the first math section. Now let's move on to the questions. The verbal section of the old GRE has been predominantly a vocabulary based test. There is a fundamental shift in the new test to a more reasoning, embedded, contextual usage based language assessment. That is, interpreting, reasoning and evaluating text, selecting phrases to complete a short passage, analyzing complex passages, drawing inferences, highlighting sentences in a passage to match question description. The new reading comprehension section requires active engagement with the text, asking questions, formulating and evaluating hypotheses, and reflecting on the relationship of the particular text to other text and information. The math section of the new GRE is now more reasoning based than earlier. The quantitative comparison question of the GRE remains unchanged. A new numerical entry question with no answer options requires you either to enter your answer as an integer or a decimal in a single answer box, or enter it as a fraction in 2 separate boxes, one for the numerator and one for the denominator. Multiple choice questions with 1 or 2 correct answers are also part of the math section. Math questions are more reasoning oriented and are drawn from all areas of math. Data interpretation caselets, graphs, and tables are also a feature of the section. The answer sections are going to be very close to each other. You might have to choose between 2.654 and 2.65, for example. In this case, you can use calculators to arrive at the answers correctly. Is vocabulary completely eliminated in the new GRE? No. The sentence completion section of the new GRE requires that you have strong command of your vocabulary. However, it is not required to study word lists, as vocabulary intensive question types like analogy and antonym are eliminated. The sentence completion question requires that you focus on understanding the functional meaning of words, that is, simple words with layers of meaning. What are the new types of questions asked in the verbal reasoning section? Sentence completion or equivalence question. Two answer choices must be selected when used to complete the sentence blank. Fit the meaning of the sentence as a whole and produce completed sentences that are alike in meaning. Now let's understand a question. In this sentence, you have a statement and you have to fill an answer. If you see, although it does contain some pioneering ideas, one would hardly characterize the work as it could be either original or it could be innovative. Now you will have to mark both. Let's take the next new type of question. You have one paragraph with 3 or more fill in the blanks. You are expected to choose answers from the 6 answer options. Read this statement carefully. The reading comprehension section consists of questions with multiple answer options. Let's take this example. In the math section, you have your new question types where you will have to type in the answer. Let us have a look at this. Questions can also have multiple answer options and you will have to click both the answer options. Have a look at this question. In a nutshell, is the 2011 GRE section more challenging? Yes. It is more challenging when compared to the older one. It consists of a brand new format, new adaptive algorithm, less stress on vocabulary, longer duration. The test seems to be following the GMAT format. For more information, please visit www.semanticslearning.com. I'll repeat, www.semanticslearning.com. You could email us your queries at enquiry@semanticslearning.com. Thank you.